to the Utah Division of Arts and Museums Final Report Training video. We encourage you to start your final report as soon as it opens to ensure you have enough time to gather the information you need and to submit the report. Please note that this training video is for all grantees except for general operating support. We have a new and different reporting process for our GOS grantees, and we will be sending that information directly to them. Before we begin, we want to remind grantees about the current split payment process and final reporting requirements. For most of our grants, our current system is as follows. You received 90% of your grant award after you signed the grant contract. The remaining 10% acts as a reimbursement and will be sent once we have reviewed and approved your final report. You have to have spent the entire grant award, not just the 90%, before you can submit your final report. We encourage you again to start your final report as soon as possible so you have ample time to get the report submitted. Now, let's move on to accessing the final report. Go to the Utah Division of Arts and Museums website at artsandmuseums.utah.gov. Go to where it says Grants and then Final Reports. Scroll down to where it says, How do I find the final report? You'll find some information here, as well as a link to the Grants portal. This is the same portal that you use when you apply for grants, and you will also use this portal to submit your report. You may want to bookmark this if you haven't already for your own convenience. This is the Grants portal page. You'll log in using your username and password. If you've forgotten your username or your password, click on Forgot Your Password and you should be able to get a new one. If you have any issues with this, please reach out to our grant staff and we can help you. You'll want to log into the portal, and once you've logged in, click on the circle in the middle that says Update. This is a list of all of the applications that you have submitted. Please find the application that you were awarded and click on the left-hand side where it says Application ID. Click on this blue link, and this will take you to the funding application page in your portal. From here, click on New Report. On this page, you'll want to go to the right and click on where it says New. This will start your final report. There's some information here at the beginning that just gives you a brief overview of the final report. And then you'll see that the rest of the report is in sections here. You will need to complete all sections before you can submit the final report. You will see right now that the Submit Final Report button is a light blue. This will only turn a dark blue once you've actually submitted all of the required questions in the report. The required questions will have this red line next to it. You'll want to make sure you answer each of the questions in the report. And as part of your report, you will need to also submit different kinds of uploads, including some photos, potentially some surveys or documents, depending on your grant. But also, as part of this, you will also need to submit your expense report template. This is a requirement now for all final reports. The final report expense template will ask you to report on all of the expenses that were paid for by the grant. This is an example of one of the expense templates. You'll put the name of the expense here, which is whatever you bought or purchased, a service you paid for, etc., the amount that you paid, and then just a little description of what that was and why you spent that amount for that particular thing. You'll fill out this entire thing for all of the expenses, and hopefully all of those expenses total up to your grant award amount. If you find that you have not spent the entire award amount, please reach out to our grant staff so we can work with you. You will need to fill this out, and then you will need to upload it here back into the report. A quick note about uploads. We do have some issues sometimes with uploads in our system. The two main reasons that there are issues is that, one, either the file size is too large, and I believe that our maximum file size is 5 megabytes for any kind of upload. So just check the size of the file. The second problem that we see a lot is that the file name is too long. So if you have a really long, complicated file name, I would suggest really making that very short, as simple as possible. You know, for example, FY26 expense report, and then just uploading that and see if that fixes it. If neither of those things fix it, please let us know so we can reach out and help you. So once you have submitted all of the required uploads, you've answered all of your questions, this will turn dark blue and you'll be able to submit your final report. We often tell people to save their work as often as possible because you never know when the system will glitch and lose your work. So save as often as you can while you're putting in information. And if you need to leave your report and come back to it later, click on Save and Exit. This will take you back out to your applications page. Now, to find the report that you started, you'll have to click again on the application ID, but this time you'll see that there's a report listed and it says draft. In order to access that, you'll want to click on the green pencil icon so that you can edit the report. You do not want to start a new report, especially if you've already done a majority of the work in the initial one that you started. Once you click on that, you'll be able to come back into the report and you'll be able to edit any of the questions that you had originally started working on. You can change any answers if you need to, but you should just be able to access the report again. One of the things we also like to show people when they're working on their report is this review and status. And this goes over all of the questions that are in the final report, and it tells you whether it has been answered and it's required. So here, this says this question has not been answered, but it's required. And so you will need to answer these. This gray means that the question has not been answered, but it's optional. So you don't need to answer it in order to submit. And obviously the green check mark means that you have already responded to that question. So this is a nice way to just double check your work while you're working on the report. Most of the reports will be due between April and June 1st. However, we do ask that you go back to your initial guidelines that were published so that you can double check to make sure what the specific timeline is for your grant. Now, in order to find that, we have created a new grantee resources page. You can find that by going back to the Arts and Museums website at artsandmuseums.utah.gov. Go to Grants, and then Grantee Resources. You'll see here we've added some resources for all grantees, and then we've created resources for each of the grants that we offer. So if you're working on a particular grant, you can find the published guidelines, and you can find the expenses template for the report. And if there's any other important information that is relevant to your grant, we'll also include that information here as well. This will actually be the end of the training. We've gone over all the pieces that you should need, but if you have any questions or you need assistance as you're working on your report, please contact our grants team at uamgrants@utah.gov. Thank you.